Hello and welcome to the DFY Links podcast, episode number 1. I am here with Mr. Craig Campbell, the legend himself. In this episode, we're going to be going through Craig's experience in the SEO industry for quite a long time, nearly 2 decades at this point, and some of his experiences from going from an agency owner into doing consulting and public speaking throughout the SEO industry, and a few other topics as well, including some Blackhat SEO knowledge that I'm sure he's going to rile some people up, but make some people quite interested as well. So thanks for coming on to the show, Craig.
No worries, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you in sunny Birmingham as always.
Not so sunny Birmingham.
Yeah, it's not the best weather at the moment, unfortunately. We were hoping for quite a nice picturesque background of the weather, but it didn't turn out so well. So let's just jump into things. You've actually been in SEO for, like I said, nearly 2 decades at this point. It's actually been 17 years, is it? And so how did you actually first get started in SEO? Because 17 years ago, I don't think Google was even the go-to search engine.
It was more coming, things were coming out. I worked in a place, a flooring company, and I was supposed to be the sales guy, but they had a website and all that kind of stuff, and I was just dabbling about the internet. But what I attribute a lot to is obviously when you younger guys are growing up, you have always had the internet. When I hit 16, 17, the internet just came out, the dial-up connection and all that kind of stuff, and being able to look at something like my house on Google Earth was mind-blowing. You're like, fuck, what is this? So I became quite obsessed with the internet, and then I was in some shitty sales job, and they had a website and no one really had a clue what they're doing. So because I was obsessed with the internet, I started messing about with the website, and it all kind of just took off from there. Then I started reading up in forums, and I sat in there, and SEO wasn't really a thing. And probably about 2005, which is about 14 years ago, things started to pick up a little bit, and then really properly doing SEO, I think I left to start my own probably about 2006 or something like that. Started doing my own stuff, and then started building my own agency. But then 2008, 2010 was when I started doing it. It wasn't really SEO such, it was just building websites and doing some local spam. Back then it was very different from what it was, but and even now, 17 years in, you're still learning new things, new techniques, new ways of making money. So yeah, it's been a long thing, but I didn't start out as an SEO. I was messing about with something I bought in PC World called Mr. Site, and stuff like that as well, just to practice. So it was really, low class kind of messing about for probably the first 5, 6, 7 years, and just trying to understand what the hell was going on and learn how to spam properly. Which
that was one of the things that I was very interested in, because I started in SEO about 2009, 2010. And when I first started, YouTube was just coming out and it was getting really, really popular and things. So I just dedicated most of my time to YouTube, and even like the Whiteboard Fridays from random stuff back in 2009, 2010, and doing things like that to try and learn. But there wasn't this huge community of knowledge that there is now, where people are releasing 20,000 word guides every week kind of thing. So you can go and learn a huge amount of SEO in a very short amount of time. So it's quite interesting to see how some people got into it when there wasn't that much knowledge out there. So it's literally, you just have to do things and cross your fingers until it works. So actually moving, I know you actually sold your agency. So you actually moved away from agency work. How was the transition of going from agency work to like I said, public speaking and consulting and courses and online affiliate even and stuff like that? Well?
I mean, it was relatively easy. I think the agency model, and I'm not discounting agencies, and I know you guys effectively run an agency and all that kind of stuff. The agency model for me just wasn't right for me for a lot of reasons. I set the agency up around my skills, so I didn't work on the business, I was working in the business. I didn't ever set out to be a business owner either. I just found myself, I had 17 staff at this point, and people were pulling sickies. I knew people, as soon as I walked out of the office, people's feet were going up on the desk. So I get frustrated by a lot of the kind of staffing issues, and then you've also got all the client crap that you get, and as an agency, I was dealing with a lot of websites. I was getting very low cost for the websites. One, because I used to do a lot of rank and rent stuff, so I was just giving websites out at cost price for link building reasons, but also just I would give websites out at cost price just to get the SEO gig, so I wasn't that fussed. But what I found was probably 80 or 90% of my time was taken up by clients saying, I don't like that colour, or my cousin down the pub doesn't really like that, and he said this should be on there, and you're like, man, I've quoted you, and this is what you've asked for, and so it was just a whole lot of fighting. And one day I just decided this is enough's enough, and you know, I felt that my SEO skills were deteriorating because I was the type of guy when I was learning SEO. I love listening to podcasts and reading up on stuff, and you know, quite geeky about tools and stuff. And I felt I wasn't getting the time to do that either. So my SEO skills were suffering, and people would be talking about
you're
stuff.
losing your passion for the actual business that you started in the first place. Yeah, and it's hard to work in that kind of environment.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, you know, focus on what you're good at, and I think SEO is what I felt I was good at, and thought, get rid of everything else, staff, all that other kind of stuff, and start to work on your own projects and stuff like that. I had a guy, one of my clients actually said to me, he was a dentist and he had 5 or 6 surgeries in and around Glasgow, and done SEO for this guy for about 4 or 5 years, and he said to me one day, going to have to let you go, I'm retiring, I've sold up the practice. He says, but he says, you're the biggest fool I've ever met. He says, with your skills, you've made me so much money. I'm able to retire at 31, spend time with my family, and you're not. And that was something that kind of triggered something in my brain to go, what the hell are you doing here? And I know guys like you, younger, you know, Matt Diggity and all these kind of guys have always been selling your own stuff effectively rather than doing the kind of client side work. And when you see guys doing that, you're like, bloody hell, I'm doing it all wrong. And you know, I'm not ashamed to admit, you know, that agency model for me was all wrong for my temperament and everything else. So I found it quite easy it was quite a relief getting away from it, to be honest.
I really don't think the agency model is plausible unless, like I said, with the people you're doing revenue share and you're doing partnership shares with people. Because like I said, you're just gonna, to grow your revenue, you have to constantly onboard new clients, or you have to and you have a lose rate. Some clients go burst, some clients don't manage their businesses properly. You will lose clients. It's not often not your own fault. If you're doing the work properly, you'll just lose clients because it's the way the business world works. But I think that the only sustainable one, like I said, is actual revenue share or profit share, even or some kind of asset where you can hold actual money that the company is earning. Otherwise, you're not growing with the SEO that they're growing unless you swiftly state in your contract. You know, you can have tiers of going up, but a lot of companies won't sign that without clear goals. And again, it's very hard to give clear goals in SEO without having extensive knowledge in case studies and things in the background.
I think even the rev share model, I think, does, not discounting it, but again, it still runs into problems when you put human beings into the equation. People get greedy, and I think standing on your own 2 feet and doing your own thing is probably the best.
Well, I find most of our clients anyway. So we're focusing mostly on white label and freelancers. So building my own projects as well at the moment, such as this. So in the actual scene that you're in, it's mostly that kind of a white hat conference scene. It's mostly, you know, that being said though, actually, even though a lot of people say they're white hat, there's an awful lot of agencies, even some of the bigger agencies that speak at these conferences that are talking a load of crap, to be honest, because they buy links of us, let alone doing other work especially. So what is it like actually being honest, if anything, with the SEO community when you go up to these conferences? You've even spoken at Brighton SEO and spoken about PBNs and stuff, which I personally never thought would be at Brighton SEO. So you're the first person to have done that. What is it like? What's the reaction you get from people at these white hat kind of events, and the possibly even the backlash that you get from the online and things as well?
I mean, it was surprising, as you say, not many people have done it, and you know, it was all new to me. To be honest, it was a fairly negative experience, if I'm being honest. You know, I thought going out on the Brighton SEO stage, I would have had a good laugh and talk about PBNs, and maybe people would be laughing and joking and clapping and going, you know, he's doing it. And, you know, I made it clear that it's not for everyone and stuff like that, but I still took a fair bit of a beating online and stuff like that. And, you know, people come up going, you're a criminal, and, you know, all of the other usual stuff that you get because you speak about PBNs. So, it was fun, and you know, I would do it again. Maybe not at Brighton. I don't think speaking at Brighton's for me. But that was a negative one. But saying that, you know, I spoke at other conferences where people lap that stuff up.
I did see your Search Norwich talk, if anyone wants to go and look at that, which is a really good talk about Blackhat SEO. And at the end, you basically like standing ovation kind of thing, which is really awesome to see, to be fair.
That was a good one. I did have one person at that though, a journalist, because I was talking about Dooley's image trick. We'll give Dooley the credit for the image trick. I think it might have been him, I'm not sure. But whoever's image trick it was, a journalist came up to me and said, I laughed so much during that presentation, but I also felt like punching you in the face because I've taken hours to write that article, and you're just swanning in and stealing a link. So, but no, I got very good feedback from that. So I think
you should have offered him some money instead.
But I think it would be unfair to say that talking about these kind of things on stage is always negative. I think the UK or Brighton SEO, which is more for agencies in the white hat community, then you are going to take a bit of a beating. But other places, I've had people desperate to speak to me or desperate for me to open up even more. But I think you have to be careful what you say, because I've done the search Norwich thing as well, which you mentioned, and again, Barclays Bank were one of the sponsors of that event, and I had a guy, because I was talking about what was I talking about again? I think it was placing a URL shortener in the Google My Business stuff, which is kind of dodgy. I get it, but the guy did email Barclays saying you're sponsoring a criminal. And
it's not actual criminal acts though. Like,
exactly, I'm not robbing a bank or something. So I got a bit of negative stuff from that as well. So I think if you're going to put your neck on the line, be prepared to take some blows to the chin.
100%. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The actual UK scene is probably the biggest in the world now, from what I kind of see. Brighton seems to be the biggest conference in the world now. It's over 4,000 attendees. There's conferences up and down, meetups up and down the UK, and there seems to be quite a lot of the biggest names in the industry have come out of the UK, like yourself. You've got Matthew Woodward, you've got Gareth Hoyle, you've got huge people, Gareth Simpson, a lot of Gareth actually.
Yeah.
Work in SEO. How have you found the UK scene's evolved since you've actually been involved in the community and things? How's it grown? Has it lived up to expectations, or? Yeah.
Massively. Like, obviously a few years ago I was always, prior to public speaking and going to conferences, I was always the guy in the agency and didn't really venture out much. So I wasn't developing personally as much, and didn't realise how big the all of this kind of stuff is. And I'm not going to say the conference scene, because I don't really go for the conferences. It's more the networking and whatnot to chill out with guys like you, because having a few beers with people who are doing what you do is people will never get it, but it's massive.
What I always tell people is, if you go to these networking events and when people are a little bit drunk, they will say things that they just simply won't tell you online. Like they will be honest with you and open up to you, because it's a face-to-face. Online, everyone wants to slightly be anonymous. So people don't particularly like saying things online, and people print screen stuff, and it's easily recorded. Whereas in person, you will be able to network with people that will share their specific tactics and things with you, especially if they're a bit drunk.
I think as well, if you start to meet the same people time and time again, they do open up. You're not going to just sit there and meet you for the first time. Building trust with these people, and I think it's evolved massively, especially in the last probably 3 or 4 years for me personally. But again, I've only really been doing the speaking thing for that length of time as well, so I'm not sure if it's just coinciding with
correlation.
But for me it's massive, and I've got guys like Dooley and all that will come up to the office in Glasgow and chill out for a few days and stuff like that as well. So I think we've got a good community here, and a lot of people probably think it's the lads going out and I think we've been called what was it, SEO chavs and all this kind of stuff.
Boys Club.
Whatever. But I think these are massively rewarding, and as I say, it's not just with the guys that like the beers. I do enjoy going to conferences and networking with the kind of geekier side of people and stuff like that as well. So I think it's massive in the UK, and hopefully I think opening my eyes up to Chaing Mai and stuff as well. It's massive over there, and hopefully America's one that I want to do more of as well, and that's going to be my plan for the future, to try and, because I think I'm relatively unknown in America, so trying to do a bit more over there as well and see how it goes. But
and SMX and things like that,
if they let me in, I don't think talking about PBNs and
you get ungagged in Las Vegas, that might be an option.
The guy doesn't let me in ungagged. I've tried so many times.
Damien and the Blackhat World guys. It's alright. Not missing out too much. one of our friends actually, Guy Sheetrick, he actually sponsored Ungagged before, and he spoke there. And it's very private, very secure and things. I think that the conference game now has got so big that it is actually hard to find solid information at them because they're so diverse. The SEO industry itself is very diverse. Like to be an SEO, you're not just really an SEO anymore. You have to, realistically, you have to do like web design, coding. You have to do a bit of PPC, a bit of social media, a bit of graphic design, a bit of video editing. It's so all-encompassing now. Just to, even just ranking a video requires the actual process of making and distributing the video and everything as well. So it's taken on a life of its own for me, at least. Anyway, I found where I've learnt a whole array of trades along with just the actual SEO side of things. What is it that you think that has been the number one kind of learning period for you? So where is it that you've got the most value out of your information? Is it networking, or is it course online, or is it blogs, or is it people, or what is it from?
I think just networking and people. You can read courses online, and as you know, you're not ever going to release anything in a full blog post. You'll give people a rough idea. Yeah. You've then got to use your initiative, try and test, and all that kind of stuff, and that takes a lot of time and effort, and people can't be bothered with that. There is no one place you can go to get all the information. No one conference either. I think it's something that has to happen over a period of time. And you talk to like guys like Diggity, for example, and you learn a bit from him, and then you might not see him for 6 months, and then I might talk to you and pick up another nugget. So this whole thing takes years to piece together. And even my wife says, like, you're always away on your jollies and going to all these events and stuff, and I'm going, no, like, I'm going out to learn. I want to talk to these guys, I want to pick their brains. And James Dooley, you go up to his office, see all his money websites, pick his brain, and you get another golden nugget there. But that's something that's taken years and years and years to develop, and probably cost me hundreds of thousands of pounds in travelling, hotels, and time and effort and all that kind of stuff.
And your own knowledge as well, that's the thing. A lot of people think that they'll go to these events and they'll be able to network and just pick ideas, like you said. But you have to be giving back. Like, you have to give to other people for them to give to you. Exactly. So you can't just go to an event empty-handed and try and grab all the scraps at the table. You need to have an arsenal yourself so that you can actually go out there and give to other people so that you can get back in return. And testing is probably the biggest way to do that. That's one of the things that we're doing the most, is single variable tests, where we literally just change one element of a link or one element of a site, see how it affects the SEO, and then we do that en masse so that we can test and see specific ways to do SEO. And that's part of the entire package of it. But something that I think that a lot of my viewers, at least, will be interested in is, do you have any Blackhat tips or tricks that might rile up the white hats on Twitter for this interview?
So anyone listening, buying links does work. That's one that will probably rile up people. You have to buy links. There is no way you're not buying links, and I don't care who you are or who trained you or whatever it may be. At some point, money's going to exchange hands somewhere to get that link on another website, or you're going to be doing something else, sexual favours or whatever it may be. One way or another, it's happening. And I know loads of these white hat guys go, outreach and this, that, and the next thing. It doesn't matter whether you're doing outreach or not. There's still money transitioning. So paid links do work very well. So continue doing outreach if you want to be at the bottom end of the scale and continuing to do client work. It's
that's the thing. We've sent tens of thousands of emails every single month for outreach. And the only ones that get the highest response rates are if you're offering them something. It's very simple. If it endorses people to reply to you, because they get so much spam from SEO companies, from outreach companies, from PR companies, from all this kind of stuff, that they're only going to listen if it's going to benefit them in some way. And a piece of content nowadays in 2019 really isn't going to benefit them that hugely, or they're not going to understand the value of that piece of content. So they are going to understand the value of money or an iPad, that kind of thing. So you have to but you also have to build the relationships with them. And if you do be able to build a relationship with them over a certain amount of time, then you'll be able to get it cheaper, you'll be able to get it more effective, and you'll be able to use that site recurringly as well. We also another tip that I might share as well is we also do a mass amount of outreach on LinkedIn. A lot of people actually check the LinkedIn messages in comparison to their emails. They'll just spam box their emails, but they'll actually read a LinkedIn message, especially if you make it custom, so it's not just a piece of spam. You probably will need LinkedIn Premium on your account to be able to do it, though, because they've limited how many messages you can send to new people and things like that. But LinkedIn has definitely been probably the number one source of how I've gotten some of the best links I've ever gotten, from like high authority links on Forbes to New York Times editorials, and I even had my hotel affiliate website on the Airbnb blog, so that was a pretty good one. So I think the next point I was going to get onto was about your your ability to actually market yourself. I know that you're one of the biggest SEMrush affiliates out there, and SEMrush affiliate program is huge, and there's a lot of people competing for it. So to say that Craig is one of the biggest is actually quite an accomplishment considering how many people are competing for this. So how have you gone about originally, before anyone knew your name, how did you go about building your name, building your brand so that you got seen and got visible around the community?
I mean, obviously I looked to guys like Matthew Woodward in the past and seen him talking at events and talking in webinars and stuff, and he's the kind of guy I look to go, you know, what he's doing, I want some of that. And and the SEMrush thing came by pure default, though. I think I was talking at Alexandra Takalova's Digital Olympus online. It was an online conference, and SEMrush said they quite liked the way I was talking. Do I fancy doing a Twitter chat? And I was like, yeah, I'll do a Twitter chat, no problem. And then it became a webinar, then it became paid speaking events and stuff like that. So, you know, SEMrush really have put me on the map because of the kind of size of the company and the exposure they've got. And then when you obviously go there to any event and deliver some information and people like you, then it just grows arms and legs. But yeah, I've got a lot to thank SEMrush for, but it was by pure luck. You know, I did follow Matthew Woodward and stuff, and I think back prior to me speaking, he was bigger on the SEMrush thing. I know he's now a big advocate of Hrefs, but prior to that, it was SEMrush and all that kind of stuff that he was doing.
It's quite weird because Matthew Woodward was actually the guy that got me into SEO blogging things as well. I was actually the first person to guest post on Matthew Woodward's blog. So he didn't allow guest posts for several years, and then I started outreaching to him because I had my own little blog where I based it off of his tutorial of how to start a blog online, and I even used the theme that he recommended and everything.
I'd done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I went for it, mate. I spent and I was working as well. I was 16 years old, working as an SEO junior for a company here in Birmingham. And then I'd go home at night and 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, be trying to read Matthew Woodward tutorials and build my blog and things. So I was trying to grow it all from there. But I actually started. I know Matthew has moved more towards HF now, and I know that he's actually living in Costa Rica, but he's over in the UK at the moment. And he's actually a big advocate now for moving away from being completely self-affiliate to trying to actually supply your own products and trying to supply your own businesses, because that takes it from just being a commission basis to the next level of actually owning things.
Yep.
And he's also actually recently sold a website. I can't name the niche or anything, but he sold it for a lot of money. And it was his exact model. He wasn't just doing the affiliate commissions anymore. He was trying to be more of an actual business. I know that lifestyle isn't for everyone. I was just wondering what your opinion was on the business models that you think are the best ones for you personally, and maybe why they are as well.
For me personally, the kind of model I've got where I get to travel and speak and stuff is quite good. I know guys like Matthew, or even yourself out in Thailand and stuff, living the life and the sunshine. And I think if I was younger, I'd love to have done that, but with a wife and a baby and all that kind of stuff, it's a little bit more difficult. But I do love going on holidays. But I love going to Thailand or whatever to speak at conferences. I can still have a bit of what you've got, but then I'm obviously back here for 6-7 months of the year as well. So I've got the balance where the wife is very into her family and big family and all that kind of stuff. So I could never get her to move abroad, or I probably would. But the lifestyle. The good thing about digital marketing in general is you can do what you want, you can work where you want. We can be down in Birmingham, I can still fire off my emails this morning and delegate my tasks to what I'm doing. So I think you can really have whatever life you want. The James Dooley approach where the world is my office and all that kind of stuff. That can be a reality. And you look at some of the guys out in Thailand, and I'm not talking about some of the bigger names, but there's guys out there killing it. Unknown guys, they're not big in the speaking circuit, making absolute fortunes and living, the life of Riley, and I think that is what we all aspire to have, surely. Sunny, vitamin D, bit of sun in your back.
I'd almost prefer at this point some of the lifestyles that those guys have got, because they're anonymous. No one knows who they are. They're completely in the shadows. They can just turn up to a conference. No one knows that they're worth like $50 million or something. It's amazing. And some of the and it's purely down to the internet. Like this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the internet, because businesses wouldn't be able to scale as much as they are nowadays. But yeah, aside from that, is there anything else that you'd like to shout out, or are you doing anything else with your life? Are you transitioning into how many conferences are you doing this year and things?
I've got to speak in India, Poland. Yeah, it's the same rush thing in India.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
2,000 people are going, and I think they're trying to build their exposure over there in India. So I've got that. Chaing Mai, I'm not speaking this time, but I'll be going, hopefully. Poland, where else? Milan, and I might have America. I'm trying to get into one in America. SEO Rockstars, but I'm not sure. I think they might be full for this year. Yeah. So trying to work my way into that one because I've been told that's a good event, and
I've watched the videos for SEO Rockstars. It's very good every year.
It should be good. But this, I'm going to be, obviously I'm doing a talk here tomorrow about affiliate marketing stuff, but going forward I am going to be launching not an Empire Flippers model, because I know Empire Flippers are aimed at the kind of higher end of the affiliate market, but I want to aim for the lower end for people who want to buy a cheap website and learn. So I'm going to be launching a marketplace for that, and not just for Amazon sites or whatever, apps, whatever. Just want to be a kind of broker and help people, because I get loads of guys saying I've got X amount of grand to invest, and I want to learn how to do it. So where do I find a website? And then you get on to your group and you find a couple of piddly websites and stuff. So I think having a nice marketplace, not to compete with Empire Flippers, and I don't want to be Flip either, I just want something in between. So I'm launching that should be ready in a couple of weeks time, so looking forward to doing a bit on that as well.
Alright, well, it's great having you on the show and everything, Craig, as well.
Perfect. Cheers.
Coming on as well, and it was
no worries.
Sure the audience got a lot out of that and a few laughs along the way as well. Thank you for tuning into the show. Make sure to subscribe, like and comment down below. This has been Charles Float and Mr. Craig Campbell. See you in the next one.
Cheers.